The Council of Elders. In the heart of Zephyria, the capital city of the Xerians, a palpable tension filled the air as the Council of Elders convened in their grand chamber, adorned with crystalline walls that refracted the warm light from two suns overhead. This was a place where tradition reigned supreme, yet today, uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud over the assembled leaders, their silver-blue skin shimmering in the kaleidoscope of colors cast by the sunlight. Elder Varian, his brow furrowed in deep contemplation, stood at the center of the chamber, addressing his fellow elders with a voice that resonated through the hall like a distant thunderstorm. For generations, he began, our people have gazed into the void between worlds with nothing but dread and trepidation. His words hung heavy in the air, echoing the collective anxiety that had gripped their society for centuries. The Xerians were known for their advanced technology, particularly their intricate wormhole network that allowed them to traverse vast distances in space. Yet this very advancement had also become a double-edged sword. It slowed their progress more than it enabled it, binding them to an all-consuming fear of what lay beyond their known universe. Yet, Elder Varian continued, his voice rising with fervor. These humans, barely a century past their first tentative steps off-world, dare to challenge not only our understanding but also the very fabric of the cosmos itself. As he spoke, murmurs rippled through the gathered elders. Some exchanged glances filled with skepticism, while others appeared intrigued by this notion. The recent arrival of human expeditions had sent shockwaves through Xerian society. While many recognized potential benefits in trade and collaboration with Earth and its colonies, there was an undercurrent of fear regarding these humans' brazen defiance of cosmic boundaries, a behavior viewed as reckless, even sacrilegious. Elder Philia, her eyes narrowed in defiance, rose to speak against Varian's perspective. Their actions border on hubris. We cannot allow their infectious disregard for dangers to corrupt our youth and undermine our most sacred traditions. Her voice dripped with disdain as she scanned the room for allies among her peers. As debates raged on within the council chamber, some advocating for caution, while others leaned toward exploration, none could have anticipated that high above Zephyria, a figure clad in a sleek spacesuit was about to alter the course of Xerian history forever. Era Keegan was not just any pilot. She was an ace pilot known for her daredevil stunts and unyielding spirit. As she maneuvered her spacecraft through a treacherous asteroid field skirting Xerian space, exhilaration coursed through her veins like wildfire. "This is insane," her co-pilot Jace Harden yelled over the comms as they weaved through massive rocks that threatened to crush them at any moment. Ara laughed heartily, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she responded. "That's because no one ever tried before." With deft precision, she corkscrewed her vessel through a particularly dense cluster of asteroids, narrowly avoiding collisions that would have spelled doom for lesser pilots. Suddenly, an urgent proximity warning blared across her sensors. A Xerian patrol craft had appeared on the far side of the field. Unidentified human vessel. A stern voice crackled over their comms. "You are hereby ordered to withdraw from this asteroid field immediately. Your actions are in violation of Aerospace Mandate 37B. With adrenaline surging through her body, Ara smirked at Jace before responding defiantly. "Hold on tight. Let's give our new friends a show they'll never forget." With that declaration, she sent their craft into a dizzying spiral through the asteroids, her skill leaving even seasoned pilots in awe. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted as an aide burst into the room breathless with excitement. "Esteemed elders," he gasped while bowing hastily, "you must see this. The human pilot. She's doing the impossible." A massive holographic display flickered to life above them, revealing ARA's spacecraft dancing through the asteroid field with audacious skill that left even Elder Varian speechless. His expression shifted from concern to awe as he leaned forward in his seat. Perhaps there was something to be learned from these audacious humans after all. As ARA executed flawless barrel rolls between gargantuan asteroids while dodging laser fire from bewildered Xerian patrol ships, Murmurs among council members transformed into gasps of disbelief and admiration. For many Xerians witnessing this spectacle for the first time, it was as if they were seeing a glimpse beyond their long-held fears, a vision of what lay beyond their self-imposed limitations. In those moments, filled with wonder and excitement, seeds of change began to take root within Xerian society. An awakening curiosity about what lay beyond their world began to overshadow centuries of dread associated with space exploration. As Ara Keegan's daring flight carved trails through both rock and tradition alike, she unknowingly ignited aspirations among young Xerians who had long been told that fear was paramount when facing the abyss beyond their home planet. Among them was Lyra Tallis, a prodigiously gifted engineer whose innate fascination with cosmic mysteries had always set her apart from her more cautious peers at the Astronautical Academy. Watching Ara's exploits unfold before her eyes stirred something deep within Lyra, a yearning not just for knowledge, but for adventure itself. As days turned into weeks following Ara's audacious maneuvers through Xerian space, public sentiment began shifting dramatically toward exploration rather than isolationism, an evolution marked by both hope and resistance from those clinging tightly to traditional values. In every corner of Zephyria, from bustling marketplaces filled with vibrant colors and scents to quiet libraries where ancient texts whispered forgotten tales, the discussions surrounding humanity's boldness echoed loudly among citizens eager for change yet fearful of what it might entail. Lyra found herself captivated by these conversations, each word igniting flames within her spirit as she envisioned herself soaring among stars alongside intrepid explorers like Ara Keegan. A dream once thought impossible now felt tantalizingly within reach. Yet unbeknownst to Lyra and her fellow cadets who were caught up in this wave of optimism, a darker force loomed just outside their burgeoning aspirations. Zul Kiksa, a member from an influential family entrenched deeply within Xerian traditionalist circles, watched intently as seeds planted by humanity began taking root among his people. Zul clenched his jaw tightly while observing gatherings filled with youthful exuberance, fueled by newfound dreams. His heart hardened against what he perceived as threats against everything he held dear about Xerian culture rooted firmly in caution rather than recklessness. As Ara Keegan basked in adulation from cheering crowds lining streets paved with shimmering lights reflecting off crystalline structures around them, Lyra Tallis dared dream bigger dreams than ever before. The stage was set for an inevitable clash between ideologies poised on opposite sides, those who dared embrace uncertainty versus those determined to preserve age-old traditions at all costs. Thus began an era where humans tamed not only physical abysses, but also emotional ones, their courage challenging Xerian's fears while simultaneously igniting passions long dormant waiting patiently beneath layers upon layers built upon centuries-worth cautionary tales woven intricately into fabric defining who they were as a civilization standing at crossroads between past fears and future possibilities. New era of exploration. In the days following Ara Keegan's electrifying display, the atmosphere in Zephyria shifted dramatically. The once dominant fear of the void began to give way to a burgeoning curiosity. The Council of Elders, still reeling from the implications of Ara's audacity, found themselves at a crossroads. The human delegation pressed for a more extensive partnership, advocating for collaboration that could potentially unlock the universe's secrets. Ambassador Michael Petra, representing humanity's interests, stood before the council with conviction. "Esteemed elders," he began, his voice resonating with a blend of hope and urgency, "the potential benefits of collaboration between our peoples are immeasurable. By combining human ingenuity and daring with Xerian technological prowess, we could unlock secrets of the cosmos that have long remained hidden." The chamber erupted into a cacophony of murmurs. Some elders nodded thoughtfully, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue, while others scowled in open disapproval. Elder Philia rose to challenge Petra's assertions. "And what of the risks?" she demanded, her voice dripping with disdain. Would you have us abandon centuries of tradition and wisdom in pursuit of your reckless agenda? Petra met her gaze unflinchingly. Elder Philia, he replied respectfully, progress often requires a willingness to challenge the status quo. We do not seek to undermine your traditions, but rather to build upon them, to forge a path that honors the past while embracing limitless possibilities. As the debate raged on, Elder Varian raised a hand for silence. His expression was contemplative, his eyes distant as if peering into the very heart of the universe itself. Perhaps, he began softly yet commandingly, there is wisdom in exploring this opportunity, albeit with caution and careful consideration. He turned to face the human delegation, his gaze unwavering. We will allow a select group of our most talented youth to train alongside your Void pilots, he declared, but only under the strict supervision of our own experts. We must ensure that our values and traditions are upheld even as we venture into uncharted territory. The decision sent shockwaves through Zirian society, eliciting reactions ranging from cautious optimism to outright hostility. In the halls of the Astronautical Academy, Lyra Tallis could barely contain her excitement at the prospect of learning from intrepid human pilots. Yet even as she threw herself into her studies with newfound passion, Lyra found herself haunted by her people's deeply ingrained fear of the void. The weight of centuries of superstition pressed down upon her, whispering insidious doubts in the darkest corners of her mind. During one particularly intense training session at the Academy, Lyra first crossed paths with Ara Keegan. The human pilot was overseeing a simulation exercise designed to test Zirian cadets' aptitude for navigating perilous depths of space. As Lyra stepped into the simulator, her heart pounded with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. "All right, cadet," Ara said through the comms, her tone equal parts encouraging and challenging. "Let's see what you're made of." The simulation plunged Lyra into a dizzying maelstrom of swirling asteroids and pulsing radiation fields, the likes of which she had never encountered before. Fear gripped her heart, threatening to overwhelm her senses and sent her spiraling into the waiting embrace of the void. But then, as if sensing her distress, Ara's voice cut through the chaos, a lifeline in the darkness. "Trust your instincts," she urged, her words infused with calm assurance that belied their dangerous surroundings. "The void is not your enemy, but your ally. Embrace its currents and let them guide you to safety." With Ara's guidance echoing in her mind, Lyra slowly began to let go of her fear. She allowed herself to become one with the ebb and flow of the cosmos. Her hands danced across the controls as her mind attuned to the subtle whispers of the universe. As she navigated through treacherous paths littered with obstacles, exhilaration surged within her. When the simulation ended and Lyra emerged from the cockpit, her face flushed with accomplishment and joy, Ara greeted her with a broad grin that split her features. "Well done, cadet," she exclaimed, pride radiating from her voice. "You've got the makings of a true void walker." In subsequent weeks, Lyra and her fellow cadets continued training under Ara's watchful eye. Their skills and confidence grew with each passing day. Barriers built by fear and superstition began to crumble as they embraced a newfound sense of wonder and possibility. However, dark forces were gathering in shadows, determined to halt progress and preserve tradition at any cost. Zol Kiksa, a member from an influential family entrenched deeply within Zirian traditionalist circles, watched intently as seeds planted by humanity took root among his people. Zol clenched his jaw tightly while observing gatherings filled with youthful exuberance, fueled by newfound dreams. His heart hardened against what he perceived as threats against everything he held dear about Zirian culture, rooted firmly in caution rather than recklessness. In clandestine meetings with like-minded conservatives, Zol plotted and schemed, sowing seeds of discord among citizens wary about embracing change. "These humans," he warned in hushed tones during secretive gatherings, his voice dripping with venomous conviction, "will be the undoing of our civilization. Their reckless pursuit of knowledge will unleash horrors beyond imagining, dooming us all to an eternity of suffering and despair." As rumors circulated through corridors, filled with whispers about sabotage and treachery brewing beneath their feet, like an unseen storm cloud ready to burst forth at any moment. Lyra found herself caught in crosshairs between two opposing ideologies, threatening to tear Zirian society asunder. With tensions rising around them, and fate hanging precariously in balance, Lyra knew that navigating this turbulent landscape would demand courage beyond measure. Yet armed with wisdom imparted by human mentors like Ara Keegan, she stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Her eyes remained fixed firmly on distant stars, beckoning them toward brighter tomorrows. For Lyra Talis was determined not only to bridge gaps between civilizations, but also reclaim lost legacies buried beneath layers upon layers built upon centuries-worth cautionary tales, woven intricately into fabric defining who they were as a civilization standing at crossroads between past fears and future possibilities. As whispers grew louder around them, echoing fears threatening progress, Lyra persisted undeterred by adversity. She envisioned herself soaring among stars alongside intrepid explorers like Ara Keegan, a dream once thought impossible now tantalizingly within reach. With every training session spent together, the bond between Lyra and Ara deepened. They forged friendships transcending boundaries imposed by species or culture, together standing at vanguard, heralding new era where courage would triumph over fear. Yet even as they worked tirelessly toward bridging gaps between their two civilizations, the forces rooted deeply within tradition continued gathering strength around them, their whispered threats echoing ominously throughout halls once filled only laughter now tainted by uncertainty looming just beyond sight. Through it all, Lyra remained steadfast in conviction that void represented not path toward destruction, but gateway leading toward future boundless potential awaiting discovery. Armed alongside allies like Ara Keegan, she pushed boundaries redefining what was thought possible, inspiring new generations eager to explore vastness beyond confines imposed by fear alone. Thus began an era where humans tamed not only physical abysses, but also emotional ones, their courage challenging Zirian's fears while simultaneously igniting passions long dormant waiting patiently beneath layers built upon centuries-worth cautionary tales woven intricately into fabric defining who they were as civilization, poised on brink revolutionary transformation. Training under human pilots. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue over the sprawling city of Zephyria, the atmosphere at the Astronautical Academy buzzed with palpable excitement. The once quiet halls were now filled with eager voices and the sound of footsteps rushing to and fro. The news of Ara Keegan's daring exploits had sparked a wildfire of ambition among the young Zirians, and they were ready to embrace their destiny as pioneers in the cosmos. Lyra Talis stood at the entrance of the academy, her heart racing with anticipation. Today marked the beginning of her training alongside human pilots, an opportunity she had dreamed of since witnessing Ara's breathtaking maneuvers through the asteroid field. She felt a mix of exhilaration and apprehension as she stepped inside, determined to prove herself worthy of this chance. Inside, Lyra found herself surrounded by fellow cadets, all buzzing with energy. They exchanged stories about their aspirations and fears, their conversations punctuated by laughter and friendly banter. Yet beneath this camaraderie lay an undercurrent of anxiety, an awareness that they were venturing into uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively. As they gathered in the main training room, Ara entered with her characteristic confidence. The human pilot exuded an infectious enthusiasm that instantly captivated her audience. "Welcome, future Voidwalkers," she exclaimed, her voice ringing with encouragement. "Today marks a new chapter for all of us. Together, we will challenge our fears and learn to navigate the vastness of space." Lyra's heart swelled at Ara's words. She felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins as she took her place among her peers. The training session began with simulations designed to familiarize them with various scenarios they might encounter in space: asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies, and even hostile encounters. As they settled into their simulators, Lyra felt a rush of adrenaline wash over her. The digital environment came to life around her, immersing her in a world where every decision could mean the difference between success and failure. ARA's voice crackled through their comms, guiding them through each exercise with unwavering support. Remember, ARA instructed during one particularly challenging simulation, the void is not your enemy, it's a partner in your journey. Trust your instincts and adapt to the chaos around you. Lyra focused intently on ARA's words as she navigated through a simulated asteroid field. Her hands danced over the controls, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath her fingertips as she maneuvered deftly between massive rocks that loomed ominously in her path. For the first time in her life, she felt truly alive, every twist and turn igniting a fire within her that had long been dormant. As days turned into weeks, Lyra's skills flourished under ARA's mentorship. She learned to embrace uncertainty and find beauty in chaos. Each successful maneuver brought with it a sense of accomplishment that fueled her desire to push further beyond her limits. Yet amid this whirlwind of growth and discovery, shadows loomed ever closer. Zol-Kiksa watched from afar as Lyra's confidence blossomed into something formidable, a threat to his vision for Zirian society. He convened secret meetings with like-minded traditionalists who shared his disdain for humanity's influence over their culture. These humans, Zol warned his peers during one such gathering, are leading our youth astray. They will corrupt our values and undermine everything we hold dear. His voice dripped with venomous conviction as he gestured passionately toward his audience. But we must act swiftly, he continued, his eyes narrowing with determination. If we allow this insidious influence to take root among our people, it will spell doom for our civilization. Back at the academy, Lyra remained blissfully unaware of the brewing storm around her as she continued to train alongside ARA and other human pilots. The bond between them deepened with each passing day. They shared laughter during breaks and exchanged stories about their respective cultures, bridging gaps that had once seemed insurmountable. One evening after an intense training session, Lyra found herself sitting beside ARA on a rooftop terrace overlooking Zephyria's shimmering skyline. The stars twinkled above them like distant beacons of hope. "Do you ever wonder what lies beyond those stars?" Lyra asked softly, her gaze fixed on the vast expanse above. ARA smiled knowingly. "All the time," she replied thoughtfully. "But it's not just about what lies out there. It's about what we can become by reaching for it." Lyra nodded in agreement, feeling inspired by ARA's words. In that moment, she realized that their journey was not just about exploring new worlds, but also about discovering themselves, unearthing hidden strengths and confronting fears that had long held them captive. However, as they shared dreams under the starlit sky, whispers of dissent echoed through Zephyria's streets. Rumors fueled by fear and uncertainty began to spread like wildfire among traditionalists who clung desperately to their beliefs. Zol-Kiksa seized upon this unrest. He began orchestrating protests against human involvement in Zirian affairs, while rallying support from influential families who shared his views on preserving tradition at all costs. As tensions mounted within Zirian society, a rift widened between those embracing change and those resisting it. Lyra found herself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting ideologies threatening to tear apart everything she had worked so hard to build alongside ARA Keegan. Despite these challenges looming on the horizon, Lyra remained resolute in her conviction that understanding could bridge even the widest divides between cultures. She believed wholeheartedly that unity would prevail over division if only they could find common ground amidst chaos. With each training session bringing new challenges, and every simulation pushing boundaries further than before, Lyra stood ready to confront whatever obstacles lay ahead, armed not only with knowledge gained from experience, but also unwavering faith in herself and those who stood beside her on this journey toward enlightenment. As whispers grew louder around them, echoing fears threatening progress, Lyra persisted undeterred by adversity. She envisioned herself soaring among stars alongside intrepid explorers like Aora Keegan, a dream once thought impossible now tantalizingly within reach. In this crucible forged by trials faced together, the bonds formed between Lyra Tallis and Aora Keegan solidified into something unbreakable, a partnership destined not only to challenge norms, but also redefine what it meant to explore beyond limits imposed by fear alone. And so began their journey, a quest not merely for knowledge or power, but rather an exploration into realms where courage met curiosity. A journey leading toward horizons yet unseen, waiting patiently for those brave enough to venture forth.